Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 3, Mission Turfgrass. You probably already noticed that it's just me today. I cannot bring in the man of the hour, the extra special, award-winning e-learning developer, Mr. Kevin Thorne, because he is out for the day. So, no sweat there. We're going to use the hour today to do a quick recap and to talk about some of the other elements of Mission Turfgrass and to just kind of get new folks, anybody new showing up to the video today, hanging out with us, get you up to speed on what it is that we're doing and what Mission Turfgrass is. If you're new to this particular stream of mine, in YouTube, you can just drop a hello in the comments. It lets me know that you're here watching. Otherwise, I can't tell if there's anybody viewing or not. Still trying to figure out this YouTube streaming thing. So bear with me a little bit as we go through this. But in the meantime, what we can do is talk about what it is that we're doing and what is this Mission Turfgrass anyways that we are talking about. And what it is a project that I'm working on with Kevin Thorne. If you don't know who he is Mr. Learn Nugget Head, and he has been doing e-learning for many years, just like so many of us. And back in 2010, he created a project that won the category that he had entered it into Demo Fest, and it also won Best of Show back in 2010. So what we decided to do was take his project, and it was done in PowerPoint. And originally he created it in Articulate Studio, so it was the PowerPoint plugin version, the old school version of the platform. And he hadn't opened it in probably the same amount of time that he won the award. And so we dug back into it. We got that PowerPoint presentation, and we're using it as an opportunity for me to teach him about Domino 1. And also obviously for him to learn and upskill into a new tool. And we thought we'd bring along the community for the ride. So anybody that's interested in seeing this particular program in its original form, in its PowerPoint form, learning a new authoring tool, and watch two old guys go through the redesign process every week, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. It will be he and I sitting in these chairs, talking shop, working on this project together. So if you're interested in hanging out with us, then that's why we're here. If you're not, then you can always see us in a few months when the project is done and you can see the finished product. But if you like watching people work out loud and go through the creative process together, and if you want to be a part of it, I certainly encourage comments and ideas as we go through this. So just let me know, and we'll make you a part of the team, a part of the group. So anyways, let me get back into eCamp. By the way, as an aside, this is also an excellent opportunity for me to practice and get better at producing my own live streams while I host them. I'm using a tool called eCam and eCam Live. And so if you saw the intro, that's part of some of the cool things you can do with eCam when you're producing. So what I'm going to do first is basically just switch us over to the screen share. And thankfully it shared the correct screen in the first try. So I'll give you a quick recap of what we've done so far and where this project is at. So like I said, he started off creating this as a PowerPoint project, and he specifically made it as an entry, a creative entry for DemoFest. Back when we were first trying to launch DemoFest and get it to grow and to get people to know what it is. Now, of course, you're all familiar with DemoFest. It happens at Learning Solutions and at DevLearn, and there are a lot of entries these days in the event. But in the early days, it was hard to get people to join, to submit projects to get into DemoFest. So I talked him into submitting, and this is something that he came up with. So Mission Turfgrass, he's actually talked about how he thought of it in a couple of the other videos, so I won't go into it. But it's basically about understanding grass, understanding your yard, your lawn, how to mow it, the tools you might need, maintenance, knowing the different types of grass and weeds that grow in your yard was the impetus for Mission Turfgrass. And as a military veteran, it obviously has a military look and feel to it in the theme. So that's where Mission Turfgrass comes from with Kevin. It's a 10-year-old project that we're going to update and upgrade into Domino. And one of the things that we did first is to use the PowerPoint import feature. Since it was originally created in PowerPoint, we basically just imported the whole entire PowerPoint into Claro, which is the PowerPoint style fixed pixel environment within Domino 1. And that's where we're at. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Now this is my version. So what we did actually, so let me go through this. I'm going to move some of these things out of the way. All basically being on the same screen. Yikes. So let me go back to the projects. So we've got, oh, these are my projects. We want to see all the projects. So this is the original project, and that we've made a little bit of progress on over the last couple weeks. And this is what it looked like when it was fully imported from the PowerPoints. This is how many PowerPoints there were, and they all imported nicely. And once that animates open, we get to this screen. And we spent a lot of time last week looking at fonts and themes inside of Domino, and to figure out how to get a font that looks like his original font or something similar to what he had in the PowerPoint, and get that in there. So we spent a lot of time online last week looking to try to find the best matching font that was free that we could download. And so that's what we found, and we went through the process of uploading it into the theme that we're using for this particular project. And we also had to turn off the player. So when you import a new PowerPoint into Domino, that it automatically assigns what we call the Nova player to it, which is a standard kind of old school e-learning player with the next and back buttons on the bottom, and a player bar at the bottom, and a title bar, play bar at the top. So we swapped that out for a no player theme, because all of the interaction and all of the buttons and the navigation are built right into the PowerPoint slides and the navigation that he created. So that's what we have here, and that's where we're at, and that's why we're here inside of Claro. And that's about where we're at. We actually, what we did was we had to delete one slide that was sort of the opening slide. And then we spent the first week going through and animating this first slide. So we can easily go through and see what we did early on. It's a lot of slides for this to render. And just know that as we go through this, as we recreate it, he's not going to need as many slides as he used originally to recreate this. So this first slide, we deleted the actual first slide, and then this was the animated slide. And then we added a trigger and an action to animate these doors that he has. So here's the open button. When you click on it, it opens those, and then it moves on to the next page. So what we'll probably do at some point is just put that animation all on the same page as this, so that it flows a little bit more nicely, so you just don't see a blank screen in the back. This gets exposed slowly as those doors are all opening. Probably add some cool sound effects too, just to make it pop a little bit. So yeah, so that's where we're at. It took us a little while, because remember, it's a learning process. So I'm teaching him the platform while we're going through and making these changes. And when we're also just talking shop as we go through and do this too. So just know what you're in for if you want to hang out with us every Thursday afternoon and learn and train yourself, teach yourself by just watching a new authoring tool platform. The best, I might add, although I'm a little biased. But anyway, so we got to that page, and then we worked on the font, talked about a few other things. We talked about styles. He's already got this page edited, but let me just step back 1 second again and just review what it is that we're doing. So remember, this is a fixed pixel environment. So it's one size screen, right? So it's your standard landscape, old school. It's actually 4x3, right? So you can definitely tell it was, old school PowerPoint. It's in its early version, but that's okay. The tool automatically knew what the resolution was and what the sizing was, and it automatically did that during the PowerPoint upload. Took care of all the setup and all of that, which is a really cool thing about that PowerPoint transfer into Claro. It just handles so much work for you, handles the structure, brings in all of these slides, and all of the elements, the text, the fonts and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very, very cool way to get started up fast. So we're going to rebuild his project and to basically, get to know the interface a little bit, to learn how all of the different elements, all the different tools and features of Domino and how they all function, the interactivity and whatnot, and how it all functions. We're going to learn that in the Claro environment. And then what we're going to do is he and I are going to brainstorm, okay, what's going to be the best way while he's learning responsive design? How do we convert a PowerPoint-based fixed pixel project like this into a responsive design? And this is the part that I think is going to be the most interesting. So we're using this beginning part just to get all the content in, to learn the interface, to learn the platform, learn the tool. But the really, really interesting part that I think is going to impact and be helpful for a lot of folks in our industry is going through that process of redesigning and rethinking that original sort of slide-based, fixed pixel, next button, authoring tool style interface, and figuring out how do we move into the 21st century of web design and web development and engage with the internet in a new way, right? The way that you browse content in other areas of the internet, our e-learning courses and projects should catch up. and be and behave and react in that fashion. So that's what this project is all about: getting it into Claro, reprogramming it, getting it to work, getting it to function exactly, or as close to exactly as we can in its original form. Probably improve it a lot, to be perfectly honest. There's a heck of a lot more we can do here in Claro than what he was able to do in the original tools that he used. So that part will be fun. But then going through the design process and learning about responsive design in a responsive design tool platform, a truly responsive platform, and recreate this whole project inside of that responsive tool. So, and that's called Flow, if I haven't mentioned it. So you get two environments in one tool. So the Domino One platform consists of Flow, which is the responsive environment, Claro, which is the PowerPoint fixed pixel style environment, and then we also have Capture, which is the simulation if you want to do software simulations to show people how to do things. It's a fantastic little tool to do that, and then you can plug those basically responsive simulations right into your courses. So we'll save that for another time. But that's the plan, and this is what we're going to be doing. Like I said, Kevin's not here today, but he will be here next week for us, and I'm looking forward to that. And this is his version. So this is basically our working version. So I have one also that I'm doing. I'm trying to stay ahead of the game a little bit, making some changes, testing out a few things, seeing what works. This is the working version that when Kevin's here, we're going to go in and make changes live. This is what he's working on to learn the platform, to learn how the tool functions. So this is as far as we've gotten so far with his. So what I'm going to do is go back to my version of the project, and just to kind of show you what's on deck coming up and how I'm going to structure this. So I figured it would be a good thing to discuss while I'm doing an episode with him not being a part of it today. So you'll notice that I've broken this up into different objectives. All right, so this might make a lot more sense if you saw the flow chart and the storyboard that he created when he was first ideating about the project as a whole. But all of those PowerPoint slides that got imported, I'm now putting them into their own learning objects. And so that's how Domino organizes content into this outline structure here. So you can have modules in your project. You can have multiple modules or just one. In this case, I think we're going to go with just one module. And then all of the different sections that he designed inside of his project, we're going to use the learning object structure for each one of these. And so these are the ones that I have not figured out how to deal with yet. And I don't even know if we actually need all of these slides. But this learning object originally contained all of the slides. And now what I've done is I've broken them up into these other slides. So this particular slide here is unique because it basically just shows each one of the objectives when you click on it. So I think what he did in the old version was, you jumped from one slide to the next by clicking on each one of these objective files. But what we can do inside of Claro is just have one page. So we'll probably start with just this one page here. And as users click on each of these, we'll just change the text that shows up here, or hide and show a different text element. So there's a couple different ways that we can handle that I think will be really fun. We can either use variables and change titles, obviously change the title up here of the the tab. We can have multiple tabs across the top here, and maybe that's how we have people go through the different files. So maybe we have 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top, and each one displays based on whatever the user clicks on. So there might be some like graphic and image redesign elements involved here too. We're not quite sure yet how far that's going to go, but those are elements that are still needing to be discussed. So anyway, so I took all of these slides that had anything to do with this particular part of it, right? The clicking on the objective just to see what it is and what you need to do for that objective. And then I did a learning object for each one of the engagement sections, the actual content, the learning portion of it. So he had Flash files. Remember Flash? He was using Flash back in the day and development tools to create Flash files, and he would embed those right into these slides. That's why these particular slides are very empty. But he has sort of his own custom slider here at the bottom. Well, not slider, but his own custom carousel. And so this little carousel component might come in handy for us. Again, I don't know yet. Haven't quite decided how we're going to redesign each of these, but that could be a possibility. But each one of these holds an interaction, and we're going to have to completely redesign each of these interactions because obviously he doesn't even have the Flash files anymore. And actually, even if he did, we might have to find an old browser to load or some sort of old school player to view it. So we might just start from scratch with each one of these. I haven't decided that yet either, to be perfectly honest. But anyways, so I've basically just reorganized all these, and I'll show Kevin how to do this next week when he's here. And so we'll reorganize his project, and then we'll basically just start trying to knock these off, one at a time and go through and deal with all of this. So objective 2, and then we have a learning object for objective 3 and a learning objective for 4. And then there's this rucksack. And the rucksack, think of that as kind of gamification, if you will. So every time you finish a mission or do something, you gain a new item for your bag, right? So if any of you are gamers, you may be familiar with the concept. And so we needed a way to be able to show the rucksack whenever anybody wanted to. So at any point in any of these activities, you should be able to check in and see what's going on in your rucksack. Oh, that's a blank page. We didn't want that. But yeah, here we go. So as you complete each objective, you come to the accomplished page. That's where you get the ability to see what's in your rucksack. And it'll tell you in your field notes, congratulations, you have acquired a canteen. So that is a variable that gets popped in there. So as you finish the objective, you get check marks down at the bottom to show which ones you've completed. So you definitely have a progress bar. And then you can click on your rucksack to see this new item in your rucksack. And then, of course, you get one every time you complete each of these. So it's definitely a fun gamified learning project that, again, was done in an old version of an authoring tool, and we're upgrading the heck out of it. And so that's basically where we are at. And I haven't even checked to see if go back here real quick. Oops, no, that's not where I want to go. All right, there we go. So without Kevin here, I think a good 30-minute live stream, just giving a quick overview of what we're doing and what you can expect every Thursday as we connect and start to dig a little bit deeper into what Domino One can do for you. This is just going to be one sample project that you'll be able to take advantage of. Once we're done with this, we'll make it available to you to look at and to see how we did it, and use it as a sample for how you can start thinking differently about very fixed pixel ideas and your how you think about e-learning content, and starting to shift from that fixed pixel world into responsive design and utilizing responsive tools like Domino Flow to allow your users to view that content across multiple devices. So they can jump from viewing it on their desktop to viewing it on their mobile phone, and it will function just as well and look fantastic and adapt on its own to the size of each one of those viewports or screen sizes. So that's all for now. I think what I should work on is a better ending than just ending the live streams. So we've got a fun little opening at the beginning. Maybe I should reverse that video and use those doors closing as the end of the stream. I'll work on that sometime. But anyways, that's that for now, and we will see you next week, Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, for myself and Kevin doing Mission Turfgrass. Adios.